All right, everyone, we start off today predictably with Trump's legal team coming out and saying that they expect Alvin Bragg. As of tomorrow, the show begins. The precedent-breaking indictment of Donald Trump, we'll get into the importance of it yet again. It'll be a little bit of a redux, of course. I'm sure we'll talk about that in the live stream, too, later. They are expecting that Alvin Bragg is going to issue a gag order on Donald Trump. There is no indication from within the prosecution that this will happen, and Trump's legal team, of course, had said before that they expected him to be indicted prior to when he actually was, and then Bragg kicked the can, and there was more witness testimony. Although that was them being misled by the original NBC report that was insinuating that, they were wrong, to be clear. They might be wrong here too, but let me give my frank opinion. We have just seen a former president and current political candidate, the front runner in the GOP primaries, indicted. It's a sealed indictment on charges that at least in part had been passed over both by the DOJ and prior Alvin Bragg himself before he got a lot of funding from certain political action groups. Yes, George Soros was involved with that. They are currently coping about how that's a conspiracy theory. Even though the money is literally there. It was $420,000 specifically earmarked. That kind of money can play a role in influencing people. After all, does anyone really believe that judges aren't politically motivated? Like the second that they take up the gavel, all of a sudden they're capable of putting all their political opinions away from them. If that were the case, then you'd only see unanimous decisions in trials. A group of judges that's considering something like at a Supreme Court level, there would be no fuzziness. It would be a 9-0 decision every time at SCOTUS, etc., because there'd be no political axe to grind. Really, interpreting the law would be cut and dry. So Alvin Bragg does have political beliefs. Therefore, people who have political beliefs differing from him presume that this is a kangaroo court, and it's dangerous. Now, here's why I can believe it plausible that they might actually be stupid enough to apply a gag order to Trump. The case already breaks almost 2.5 centuries of precedent, again with a closed indictment. And again, the charges had been skipped on twice before they were levied. The fact that the Alvin Bragg office is capable of saying, well, 2 centuries of precedent is great and all. Yeah, we realize that we're going to whip up a lot of social alienation with this in a case where it looks like, and there are legal experts who have been looking at this as well, it looks like they dogpiled charges in. They're talking about 35 or so counts, possibly, again, it's a sealed indictment. It looks like they're just sort of throwing everything at the wall and hoping that something sticks because they don't have a strong case in any individual count. And so they're hoping to predispose the jury into finding him guilty on 1 or 2 charges simply because of the fact that he's been charged with so much he must be guilty of something. Again, show me the man and I'll show you the offense. Everyone has broken the law at some point in their life. Most people have actually acted in a felonious manner at one point or another in their life, simply because of the fact that people are ignorant of the massively overburdened legal system. Like, how many people out there haven't possessed drugs, for example? About half the population falls flat right there. How many of those people have never been publicly intoxicated, technically breaking the law? How many of them have ever, I don't do this because I'm paranoid, but there are quite a few people out there that skeeve on their taxes. Sometimes it's just they don't know how to fill out the fucking paperwork, but they're too poor to afford someone to do it for them. That's why I use a tax service, by the way. I use a CPA. Out there, painfully few people would not be potentially able to be charged right now for something that might still be in the statute of limitations. That's the other problem here. The only way in which they're indicting him on virtually all of these charges that we don't even know what they are yet. I like how the liberals are like, well, we got him this time. You don't even know what the charges are, asshole, so why don't you wait until Tuesday and see? I think they unseal it then. Not 100% sure. Trump's just waiting. He's celebrating right now with extra McDonald's because he knows that mugshot photo is going to be one hell of a banger. It's going to become the ultimate meme of the campaign. Watch what 4chan does with it. I hope that people are preparing their meme cannons in Photoshop and shit right now, because you're probably going to want that. Maybe he'll let you make money off of his mugshot too. I think you can. Isn't that public record? So it's not under Trump's copyright or something, I think. That's why I think it's plausible that Alvin Bragg is nuts enough to issue a gag order. Well, Mr. Trump, I've had quite enough of you intimidating people, and so I'm ordering you not to talk about the case at all. That's going to go over really, really well, and it totally won't make it look even more politically motivated. To say that Donald is unique in the sense that almost all the time in such cases, these aren't violent charges, these are white-collar crimes, you don't have a gag order. Once again, they'll be treating Donald Trump as special, actually, by default if they do that. Under normal circumstances, I would say, it's just bullshit. And basically, the attorneys for Donald Trump are just trying to whip his fans into a frenzy for political reasons right now. But I can actually believe it's plausible. We'll wait and see what happens tomorrow, but at the very least, it's possible that they actually do that. I'm 50-50 on it. I don't have a clue which way they're going to go. Again, even odds, because historically speaking, you wouldn't have a gag order. But they've already broken historical precedent on a monumental A-plus level with Alvin Bragg as DA. So he's obviously a very legally unpredictable individual. Yes, it's going to be an interesting time. Now, the judge in the case has political motives. The DA has political motives. Donald Trump probably did nothing wrong. Again, if he did, you're effectively looking at white-collar misdemeanors artificially upgraded just to screw with him. So he's waiting until tomorrow. He's going to put on extra orange makeup, by the way, at the time. What Trump should do, if he wants to really troll them, is radically alter his appearance. Like all of a sudden he has a new hairstyle and he puts like corpse paint makeup or something like that on. If he really wanted to get attention and screw with them, he would do something like that. I expect him to be smugly smirking in his mugshot, not looking particularly dour. Interesting times that we live in. Again, our republic is effectively on the brink right now because of this massive change in precedent at this point going forward, and the Republicans will do this too. Any former president now can be indicted for basically anything as long as you can impanel a grand jury in a spot where you're pretty sure that the grand jury will go in your direction. And we end up with a banana republic style system where a lot of people who are noble won't even run for office because they don't want the problem. So you'll only have a bunch of corrupt scumbags that, oddly enough, are both easier to find charges for them and harder to put them away because they tend to be entrenched within a corrupted government system to begin with. We'll see what the judge in the case does. We'll see if he's crazy enough to take what may be Alvin Bragg's advice and actually issue a gag order. At that point, I think it's fairly clear that it's a kangaroo court if it happens. That's about all. Peace out.